So welcome to this webinar. I've started now and I've done a sound check, so if you can't hear me and you think I've started, then do let me know. This is a webinar about embracing the video interview because they are here to stay. And we're going to look at the video interview, which is a long-standing feature of corporate recruitment and one which has expanded into the everyday since the travel restrictions have applied. And they're here to stay because they're very cost effective to implement. There's no travel time for staff or candidates, no travel expenses, and they can be delivered on demand through a platform of pre-recorded interactions or live. Now, we work quite a lot with a large local employer, and they've told us that this is the biggest deselection tool they have. They might choose candidates for the role and encourage them to participate, but as many as half of those invited to take that video interview step, half of them just simply don't do that. So that means if you're offered a video interview, when you take that step, there might be fewer candidates if the others have dropped out. And with a little bit of preparation, you'll be an excellent candidate for the job. So today, what we're going to do is explore the types of video interview. We're going to look at how to prepare and how to perform well. If you've got any questions as we're going along, please do put them in the chat box. I don't keep the chat when we release the video of this, but it is being recorded. So there are essentially two forms of video interviews. There's the live versions, which is at a set specific time and date. And these are more or less the same as an in-person interview on site. For the on-demand, this is where you record your answers in your own time and send them back to the employer to review when they're ready. And expect to see a question and have a few moments to prepare an answer before pressing record. Now, not having to interview candidates face-to-face represents an important time saving for busy hiring managers, and they can use that opportunity to scrutinise interviewees' answers in more depth. On-demand interviews can also provide access to a wider pool of talent, including passive candidates whose ability to interview is limited by their current work commitments. It's also a really good way to compare and eliminate bias within the recruitment process. So if we're having a look at preparation for either option, and as you would for a normal in-person interview, preparation is key. This means that you'll have researched the company and the role thoroughly, have practiced some common interview questions, or even tried a mock interview and are dressed appropriately and professionally. However, there are a few additional steps you might need to take to ensure your video interview runs smoothly. So this is in a section of do's and don'ts. So number one, do remember that first impressions count. And you'll want to impress the interviewer from the start. So make sure you dress appropriately from head to toe, and you're on time for the call. It's always best to log in a few minutes early for some last-minute technology checks and to ensure you're well positioned in front of your camera with your head and upper shoulders in shot. And also make sure you pick a quiet, well-lit spot that's clear of any clutter. All of this will show the interviewer that you're organised and prepared for the call. The second do is practice. And you might not be used to talking in front of a camera, so take some time to practice. You could even video call a friend to do a mock interview, or do a mock interview with us in careers. Pay attention to your body language, to your voice and background noise, and ask for feedback on how you come across. Make sure you familiarise yourself with the video tool you're using. It could be MS Teams, Skype, Google Meet or Zoom, and they all work slightly differently. Getting to grips with them will help you feel much more confident going into the interview. And you're also reducing the risk of any accidental technical glitches. It is harder to be animated and to perform to a recording, but with a bit of practice, it gets a lot easier and much more comfortable. As a don't, Don't let technical problems ruin the call. Minimizing technical problems during your video interview starts by being properly prepared. Check to make sure your internet connection, camera and microphone are all in working order and that your laptop battery is fully charged before the start. If you miss anything the interview says due to a technical glitch, do ask them to repeat it. But if the problem persists, calmly let them know and take charge of fixing it. On to performance. For either type of interview, treat this in just the same as an in-person interview, and practice is really key to performance. So do let your personality shine through. While the setting may be slightly different, the purpose of the interview is still the same, and that's to find out more about you and whether you're a good fit for the job. Getting your relevant skills and experience across is important, but the interviewer will also be looking to find out whether you're a good match personality-wise. So be yourself and try to act as if you were face-to-face with the interviewer. Do mind your body language. Make sure it's sending out the right signals. Having good posture and making eye contact with the interviewer will show you're alert and fully engaged with the conversation. When the interviewer is talking, show that you're listening by nodding and smiling. To make eye contact with your interviewer, look at the camera, not at them on the screen. Don't let yourself get distracted. Your focus should be on the interview at all times. Doodling, typing, or looking out the window will be a clear sign to the interviewer that you're not engaged, and they may interpret this as a lack of interest in the role. Looking at them, at the camera, will also help you to read their responses to what you're saying. Prior to the interview, make sure you're not going to be interrupted by phone calls, housemates, children, or pets. Switch off your phone and all your computer notifications and tell everyone in the house that you're about to have an interview. Try not to rely too heavily on some notes. You might be tempted to make detailed notes prior to the interview, but if you're constantly referring to them, it can become distracting. Having a copy of your CV close by with the relevant points highlighted is a good idea, along with a list of questions you'll want to ask. But don't write out full answers to potential questions. A much more effective way to prepare for your interview is to practice, and practice answering those commonly asked questions or doing a mock on-demand interview or an in-person interview. Here we got some practice platform for you to practice a pre-recorded interview. You choose your own interview questions that are relevant to the role you're applying for, and you can practice this as often as you like. In the notes section, in the transcript below, there is a link to a short and helpful video to get you started on this. You can also practice by appointment. When you're offered an interview appointment with real people, online or in person, you're welcome to book an appointment with a careers advisor to practice your interview technique. You'll need to send us the details of the role you're being interviewed for, and that's usually the job and person spec and the company details. The advisor will prepare a range of questions that might be used for the role, ones that are likely to come up, and try to give us as much notice as you can so that we can prepare. You can see here on this screen clip of how to book the appointment. If you'd like to explore in more detail, there are some links and some extra videos, so I put the links to these particular things on the transcript. So if we're moving on, what I would like to know is if we've met the aims for this session and how much progress you feel you've made. If you could add your score to the chat and provide any additional comments, that would be really helpful. So today we've looked at what to do about video interviews and how to prepare and what you can do to make the best impression possible. So if you could pop some information in the chat box, that would be lovely. I'll just give you a couple of seconds to do that. You can see we've got some typing going on, so that's fantastic. Thanks, guys. When I say guys, I mean people, not necessarily male people. I'm not sure that that's coming through to me. I can see people are typing, but it's not coming up in the box. So let's move on to the next slide. We are always developing new topics to deliver in our webinar series, and if you have any suggestions, it would be really useful to know. So if there's something else that you feel that we could help with, that would be lovely. And I can see I've got some feedback, so that's very useful. That's lovely. As a summary then, Careers is open for business. We offer a wide range of service and they're available online. We're hoping to be back on campus sometime next semester. You can book an appointment or mini appointment through Career Edge and you'll be sent an invite to meet up in Teams if you'd like an appointment. And we have all the usual online services available too. So thank you very much for joining me this afternoon. Good luck with your applications and do remember that we're here to help if we can. I'll just give a couple of seconds for the final comments to be recorded, but I am grateful for your attention this afternoon. Thanks, guys. I'm going to close the meeting now. Thanks very much for attending.